GF are trusted and used by the careers services at over 100 universities and business schools worldwide to help their students get jobs. Our partners include London Business School, UCL, LSE, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and ESAID. Our solutions are developed by former SHL psychologists with decades of experience in job assessment. Hi everyone, my name is Steve Jackson, and in this video, I'm going to share the 5 most common logical reasoning questions that you are likely to face in any upcoming test. I will give you the techniques and skills required to ace these questions easily. By mastering these 5 questions and the rules behind them, you will become confident enough to ace more than 70 to 80% of the logical tests that you are likely to face in your job search. So make sure you watch through to the end and focus on each question fully. Also in this video, I will disclose where you can practice these tests for free. Remember to leave any comments, thoughts or questions below and I will be happy to answer them for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to ensure you receive the latest videos to help you land your dream job first time. Question 1. Which shape comes next in the sequence? This is a typical logical reasoning type question, and a good one to begin with. As you can see, we have 5 shapes in the sequence at the top of the page, and we have to decide which shape comes next. You will have to choose the correct answer from the 5 options, labelled A to E. Let's break this question down into simpler parts. We can identify repetitive patterns and rules used in most logical reasoning tests. Let's take away the answer options and focus on the question in detail. There are a number of patterns and rules to be identified. Here are the rules for this question. Rule 1. The arrow moves 90 degrees clockwise across the sequence. As you can see, the arrow in the first box is on the left, and in the next box, it moves 90 degrees clockwise. This pattern continues along each step of the sequence. Therefore, in the final box, the arrow is on the left. And using this rule, we can determine that the arrow will be at the top in the shape that we are looking for. Rule 2. You'll notice that as you move across the sequence, the shape in the center of the box begins as a triangle and follows the pattern triangle, circle, square, and repeats. Therefore, it's clear that as box 5 contains a circle, the correct answer will contain a square. Rule 3. In the first box, the horizontal line changes to become a vertical line in the next box, and then follows a pattern of horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Therefore, as box 5 in the sequence has a horizontal line, the next box in the sequence will have a vertical line. Let's take a look at the answer options. Look at the box that we have built, and it is clear that option C is the correct answer. Once we practice a few of these, it will be much simpler to determine patterns and rules. You will also learn how to easily eliminate incorrect options. Later in this video, I will provide you with some free sample questions so you can practice and become more and more confident. This is just one of 5 most common questions you are likely to face. Keep watching this video to discover the underlying rules behind the remaining questions that will help to ensure you ace any logical tests that you have to take. Question 2. For this question, I would like you to have a go at it yourself and leave your answer in the comments box below. Which shape comes next in the sequence? Begin by using what we've learnt so far and try to identify rules that may apply to the various shapes in the boxes. Focus on one key aspect at a time and try to determine the rule in place. You will then be able to narrow down the options. We will go through the answer to this question later in the video. I will now give you 30 seconds to have a go. Please pause the video if you need more time, and don't forget to comment your answer. Question 3. This question is a bit more difficult than the previous questions and may require a bit more thinking. Which shape comes next in the sequence? Let's begin by removing the answer options and focus on each box. Here are the rules for this question. Rule 1. The triangle moves from the bottom to the top of the right-hand column one box at a time, and when it reaches the top, it starts from the bottom again. Therefore, as the triangle is in the top right box of box 5, we can determine that it will be in the bottom right in the correct answer. Rule 2. You can see that the circle moves from left to right along the middle row, and then moves down a row and continues to move from left to right. Following this rule, the circle must be in the bottom right in the box that we are looking for. Rule 3. In the first box, the square begins in the top middle and then moves to the middle right in the next box, and then top left. Therefore, the rule in place is that the square moves diagonally, before moving to the diagonal below. As the square is in the bottom right in box 5, it will therefore be in the middle left in the box that we are looking for. Let's bring back the answer options. Looking at the box we have created, it's clear that option B is the correct answer. This is again another very common question type that you will come across, and by practicing more questions, you will become more confident identifying rules and answers. To master the most common questions and rules underlying logical reasoning tests, ensure you watch through the final 2 most common question types that we will now cover. Question 4. This question is the 4th of 5 most common question types you are likely to face. By mastering these questions, you will give yourself a strong advantage at passing these tests. Once again, we have 5 shapes in the sequence, and we must decide what rules are in place to find the correct answer from the options that are provided. Let's focus on the 5 shapes in more detail by removing the answer options. For this question, I will introduce the rules, but feel free to pause the video in advance to have a think about what you think the correct answer is and put it in the comments section below. Here is Rule 1. The arrow in the centre alternates from pointing downwards to upwards and follows this pattern. It begins in box 1, pointing down, and then upwards in box 2, and so on. Therefore, as it's pointing downwards in box 5, it must be pointing upwards in the answer that we are looking for. Rule 2. Let's look at the dots at the top of each box. We begin with 4 white dots, and then we have 2 white dots in box 2. We then have an addition of a black dot in box 3, and then the removal of 2 white dots in box 4, and finally another black dot in box 5. The rule in place is -2 white dots and +1 black dot, and repeat. Therefore, we have removed 2 white dots between box 1 to box 2, and then added a black dot between boxes 2 and 3. We have then removed 2 white dots between boxes 3 and 4, and then added a black dot between boxes 4 and 5. From box 5 to the correct answer, we need to remove 2 white dots, and as there are no more white dots to remove, we can determine that the answer box will simply show 2 black dots at the top. Let's bring back the answer options. We can see that B is the correct answer. This is a trickier type of logical reasoning question, and I hope it made sense to you. If you still have any questions, please put these in the comments below, and I will ensure I provide answers to them. Also, if you liked the video and found what I'm covering useful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Question 5. Finally, let's take a look at the 5th most common logical reasoning test question and the rules behind it. This is another difficult question. However, if you understand the rules behind a question like this, you will have a huge advantage to pass most logical tests. I will begin by removing the answer options and look at the rules for this question. Rule 1. Let's begin with the triangle in the first shape. Each black dot equals a 90-degree clockwise movement of the triangle. As box 1 has 2 black dots, this means that the triangle will move 2 spaces 90 degrees clockwise as we move to box 2. Box 2 has 1 black dot. This then means the triangle will move 1 space 90 degrees clockwise as it goes from box 2 to box 3. As box 3 has no black dots, the triangle will not move as we move to box 4. And finally, in box 4, we see 1 black dot, which means the triangle moves 1 space clockwise to box 5. Therefore, as box 5 has 3 black dots, we can expect the triangle to move 3 spaces clockwise in the correct answer, as shown here. This is a bit more difficult to see, but this is precisely why it is crucial that you practice more and more questions before you take your actual logical reasoning test. Don't forget, we have free tests available at GF. Rule 2. Now let's consider the dots in the centre of the shape. The pattern here is as follows. Box 1 has 2 black dots. Box 2 has 1 black dot on the left and 1 white dot on the right. Box 3 has 2 white dots. Box 4 has 1 white dot on the left and 1 black dot on the right. And finally, for box 5, whilst ignoring the top dot, we can see the pattern repeats itself as in box 1, with 2 black dots. Therefore, the correct answer will have the 2 dots as in box 2, as well as the top black dot. Let's bring back the answer options. We can see that option B is the correct answer. This is a much more difficult question than usual. Some tests will sometimes throw in a distractor, like the top dot, to throw you off, but don't let that be the case. You can see that all answer options have a black dot at the top. Whilst this question is difficult, it is good to practice to understand the rules behind it. Once you master these questions, you can be assured that you will handle logical reasoning tests with much more confidence and success. Before we end the video, I'd like to go back to question 2 so you can see whether you got the question right or wrong. Compare your reasoning behind this to the reasoning that I will provide here and see how you did. Here are the rules for this question. Rule 1. The circle moves 1 step clockwise across the sequence. As you can see, the circle is in the top left in the first box, and in the next box it moves to the top right, and then bottom right in box 3. As it is in the top left of the last box of the sequence, it must be in the top right in the correct answer. Rule 2. The triangle moves diagonally as you move across the sequence. It begins in the top right in box 1, and then moves to the bottom left in box 2, and back to the top right in box 3, and so on. Therefore, as it is in the top right box in box 5, in the correct answer, it must be in the bottom left. Rule 3. The square moves 1 step anti-clockwise across the sequence. It begins in the bottom left in box 1, and moves to the bottom right in box 2, and so on. Therefore, it will move from the bottom left in box 5, and will be in the bottom right in the correct answer. Looking at the answer options, we can see that option B is the correct answer. Well done if you got the correct answer. You have just seen how to solve the most common logical reasoning questions. Practicing these tests is the only scientifically proven way to improve. Thank you for watching. By now, you should have learned the rules to solve typical logical questions that are likely to appear in 70 to 80% of logical tests used by employers. Improve your logical reasoning skills to pass candidate assessment for over 8,000 employers by practicing free tests on our website. Click on the link below and start practicing. Get a free report and personalized tips to improve your performance with your free test. Found this video useful? Please like, share, and subscribe for more.